Moving into chapter 3, linear systems. We are going to do some things in this chapter that are review of Algebra 1 and some things that are new. We are going to start off with solving systems using tables and graphs in section 1. So before we even start doing this, I want to ask you, what is a system of equations? And in other words, what does it mean when we find a solution to a system of equations? Well, a system of equations is a group of equations we are looking at collectively. And the solution to the system of equations satisfies all the equations. And not just at one, or not just one of our equations. A solution is true for all of our equations that we're looking at in our system. Now, mostly in the past, we have done linear systems of equations where we're working with two lines. So I guess the next thing I want to think about before we actually start some examples and think about strategies for solving, how many times can two lines intersect? And hopefully you have some ideas running through your head right now. Just in general, how many times can two lines intersect? Well, the first one that probably comes to mind is if we have two lines, maybe something like this. And those two lines intersect once. Okay, if they intersect once, this point right here is a solution. It would satisfy both of our equations at the same time. So in this case, there is one solution. And depending on the number of solutions there are, we have some different terms that can go along with them. So if there is one solution, we call it an independent system. And these words that I'm gonna, I don't know, squiggle underneath are probably some new words that you have not heard before, and that's okay too. Okay, so other situations for our two lines. Well, we could have parallel lines. And these two lines are never going to intersect, so there is no solution. And if there's no solution, we call this an inconsistent system. And then finally, we could potentially have two lines that lie one on top of the other. So I'll use that blue line here, and then I'll do red. Go Rams. Where those two lines lie directly on top of each other. If we have that situation, all of the points on these lines are solutions because they would work and lie on both of our lines. So there are infinitely many solutions. And we would call that dependent. That would be a dependent system. Okay, so this is just kind of our introduction, and we'll get into solving with our next video.